Everybody, welcome to the book club Zahara Ask What is Love. And this is our session 5, our second last session. And next week, we have a week off because it is Easter. So we'll have our session next Sunday, the following Sunday. And before we start, I want to talk about our new group in Facebook, which is called 3B in Africa. And we also have our YouTube channel. It is called 3B in Africa as well. And Jim and Harry, they have made a documentary for 3 Principles in Africa. Please do check that out in our YouTube channel called 3B in Africa. And last but not the least, those who would like to listen to or read the book Zahara Ask What is Love, please do visit acttraining.biz. I repeat, acttraining.biz. Now, without any further ado, let's welcome our speakers, Harry and Jim. Welcome, Harry. Welcome, Jim.
Hi, everybody. Good to be back again. This session is Zahara and her boyfriend, and the book started when Bella from New Talent for the Best Future asked me the question, "What is love?" And I quickly picked up that she wasn't talking about just love of God, which is what all the adults talk about. She was also talking about what is the difference between love of a boyfriend and love of God. And from that, this chapter was born after I wrote the whole book, which was 10 chapters at that time. And I was teaching in Naka Valley, and this about 25-year-old, maybe 20-year-old Naka Valley young lady told this story about her experience with a boyfriend and how it was so different after she had learned about the 3 principles. And so one of the things I want you to get from this is not only the difference of love between God and a boyfriend, because there isn't really a difference, is how practical the 3 principles are, how they can answer the questions that when you are insecure or attached to a boyfriend, how you can be free to trust your own feelings, to guide you to truth, to guide you to what is the most secure for yourself, the true love that you have for yourself with the boyfriend, with another person. And so this chapter highlights that. And when Jim and I discussed what chapter we wanted to teach, it came to me that we wanted to show a practical example. We have many other chapters that we have not talked about in the book, and each chapter is an individual teaching. So I would really emphasize that. So chapters like alcohol, we have decided not to touch. And we had a choice between this chapter and the mystical nature of love, and we've decided to leave that alone. And then we will go to our final chapter in 2 weeks' time. So this is an exciting chapter because it's actually a live story, although of course I personalized it into the book, of a true experience that a young lady had with her boyfriend. And now I'm just going to pass it over to Jim. Go ahead, Jim.
Sure, Harry. Roz and I listened to the chapter a few minutes ago, and we're struck by the simplicity in the chapter and the practicality in the chapter. It's a beautiful lesson that we're given, and there's a key in it for all relationships, and this is demonstrated by Zahara. Be true to yourself. Listen to your inner voice. And this is the voice that's coming from mind. This is the voice that's coming from God. This is the voice that directs you to loving yourself first. The chapter will be self-explanatory. There's an argument. It's settled, and the results are pure. And now let's have a little mystery and put our attention to what's shared in the chapter.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, chapter 8 of the 11 chapters, actually 12 chapters now of Zahara.
Zahara shares fighting with her boyfriend and love, part 8. Zahara was amazed at the recent experience with her boyfriend. He became angry with her and started to yell at her. Normally, this would lead to her yelling back, and many hurt feelings would be experienced. However, this time was dramatically different, and it amazed her. She went to tell Bibi about it, so she quickly walked over to her home with a big smile on her face. Grandma, I just had the most wonderful experience. Bibi could see the pleasure in Zahara's eyes and sat down to listen to her granddaughter. Bibi, it was amazing. My boyfriend got upset with me over the fact that I would not go with him to drink at a party. He yelled and insisted that I go with him. He tried to bully me into going, but I did not want to go. He got angrier, and normally I would start to yell back at him, telling, "Who do you think you are?" However, this time was different. I remembered what you had told me about negative energy, negative thoughts, and negative actions. It was very difficult not to get negative and angry, but I kept my thoughts positive and was secure in my feeling of who I am. He left in a storm, but I had the most wonderful and positive feeling. I knew it was correct. And then, the next day, he even came and apologized. I could not believe it. You are right, Grandma. It takes two to fight. And if I live in my spirit, do not react to the other person's negativity and offer them an opportunity to see the love in my heart, there is not only no fight, but I grow in my wisdom about how life works. Life is a positive experience, and only I can make it into a negative one with my negative thinking. Grandma, it's so simple and easy, I cannot even understand why I did not see it before. Bibi answered, it is the simplicity that people cannot understand. In the past, the people were more connected to Mother Nature, and so their minds were calmer. Don't understand and misunderstand me, Zahara. The people still had problems, but in many ways, it was easier to return to happiness because they loved the simple feeling of love. They did not think so much about everything. They did not analyze or conceptualize all the things that young Africans do now. They understood what Sydney Banks stated in his book. Begin the process of nourishing the soul by living in the now. Forget the past and the future and just be. And you will surely be rewarded by living in the now. And Zahara, you had an insight and saw life far more clearly and simpler. Change the pattern of your thoughts from negative to positive. Automatically, the condition of your life will change for the better. Zahara smiled and said, isn't it amazing that we are always free to be happy within? No matter what life throws at us, there is a positive feeling to guide us home, back to God, and back to our happiness and good feelings. I love that, Bibi. It is true what Muhindu said. Happiness is free.
So Jim, maybe you could talk a little bit more about what you felt about that, and then we'll just sort of roll into it.
I enjoyed it again. It's so simple. There's like one lesson in there. It's the big lesson. Go inside, let your thoughts go, be true to your heart, be true to yourself. And that's demonstrated so well in the conversation that Zahara and Bibi have right there. So it's so simple. Don't skip over it. Don't tell yourself, yeah, we know this. Catch it.
And
Take it.
it's so practical as well. What's interesting for me, Jim, is that I never talked when I taught the class to this young lady in the three principles. I never talked about boyfriend or any of the personal experience that she had and where she really wanted answers to, which was with her boyfriend. She she took the teachings of the universal principles and took it into what she was interested in. And then spirit provided the answer that she needed. And all of a sudden, she experienced freedom from her beliefs. And she got a deeper feeling of God. It shows the God and the practical together in simplicity. Yeah.
It's a perfect lesson for couples. Our relationship has gone sour. What's going on? And basically, whenever Roz and I have talked about the success of our relationship, it comes down to be true to yourself, listen to your own inner voice, stay on that path, and love your partner. And it's not loving your partner to suppress the truth. It is loving your partner to express the truth in a kind, secure, loving way. And in that way, whatever seems to be a problem will change. And it's both ways. The lessons in Zahara asks are generally from the female perspective, but it is no different from the male perspective. Be true to yourself, be the guy you want to be. And the guy you want to be is a guy who truly loves and truly understands and truly respects your partner. And that's it. It's there for the both. And when you do that, your relationship remains pure. Your relationship is above your own ego needs.
I'd like to read what Jean Peter has written in the chat. I am really glad with this club. This club has changed me, yet it has helped to change my fellow refugees in Naka Valley, in Cabazana village. What a great session and change to me. Again, just the feeling that's expressed changes people.
Yeah, that's a beautiful endorsement right there and beautiful testimonial. Thanks so much, Jean Peter.
Yeah, thank you for that.
It's great to hear the effects of the three principles, the simple teachings that are being picked up wherever they're being shared. You're sharing it right now, you're getting the effect of that. There's got to be a great feeling happening within you right now of the expression of truth that you've just given. And we all continually want that. That uplifts me, that uplifts Harry, that uplifts everybody in the room right now. And it'll go back to your village through you and any other villages that are here, and for the other Africans that are teaching 3P, the beautiful teachers that are coming up.
Yeah, and that's the idea, the beautiful teachers that are coming up.
Yeah.
That's why we're teaching there so that the beautiful teachers will change Africa.
Sure. And that's why you wrote the book, Harry. That's the tool, our first big tool. And that's why I read the book. That's I'm grateful to have an opportunity to participate in that way. And hopefully, people will listen. Children are listening to it in their classrooms with their teachers, and they're getting to talk about this. And the changes are happening as a result of this book and this audiobook. And now it's available in Swahili, and we will be making it available in other African languages, so that people find out about who they are, and they find out about being happy and dropping the suffering.
And in the African psyche, they like to have a book. They like to have a curriculum. They like to have something solid that they can hold on to and relate to in the teachings of the three principles. And the book provided that for them from an African perspective. Remember, the book was written with African characters and for the African psyche. And it's been well received. And when Jim brought it into the audio book, it expanded the audience. It wasn't just a digital book anymore. It was the audio and the digital. Some like the digital, some like the audio. But it's a beautiful expression. And I don't see that I wrote that book. I see that the book was expressed through the experiences that the Africans were telling me about. And somehow I was able to get that on paper, type of thing. And this chapter is an example of that. And when I created the last chapter, which is on teen pregnancy, which is a new chapter, it's really Sylvia who spurred it on. And so much of it is her words. And then when I taught to a young 13-year-old young lady, I said something, and that brought the rest of it out. So it's an expression of what we are feeling while we are working with these brilliant, wise people. And that's been the fun. They're so cool. So cool. Karen, do you have a question? Sorry, Jim.
No, that's all I was going to do is
Yeah.
point out Karen.
So first of all, beautiful chapter. I just loved it very much. And I've got two questions. Actually, many, but I'll ask only two. Number one is, I heard that when you change your thought patterns from negative to positive, your life changes from negative to positive. How does it happen? Is it like the law of attraction on quantum physics level? Or, I mean, what way does it work? How does it change?
Do you want me to start, Jim, or you?
Oh, you can go ahead on that one.
Okay. It's like the law of attraction, but it's really the law of thought. Whatever thought you put out, it creates itself. So if you put out love, it creates via its nature, it creates more love. So that's the law of attraction, is the law of thought on a simpler level. And when you have pure thought, you experience the pureness within yourself, the love within yourself. But everything that Sid teaches can be summarized in two words, Karen: change thought. And so when your question of when you change from negative to positive thought, that's the three principles in action, bringing a practical example of, I have a yucky feeling, and all of a sudden I have the most delicious feeling in the world. And you're home again. You feel, oh, I feel safe and secure, because I'm not just walking with ba, 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 ba. I'm walking with the silence inside myself. So the law of attraction is cool, and it is absolutely the way thought works. It attracts what it does. Or I use the word, it boomerangs. Whatever thought you put out, it boomerangs back into a feeling. And so that is just the scientific way that the universe works. And it's an empirical science. Empirical means practical to yourself. And so via like this, Zahara experienced an insight, but she didn't experience it with willpower or effort. I'm going to change my mind and I'm not going to get angry. She had heard something and then it expressed itself, which is what the law of attraction, it expressed itself from an inside out empowering perspective. And that blew her mind, just like it blows our mind. Just every time we experience an insight or a change in the way we deal with things on a practical level, we notice, wow, it's such a subtle thing, but it's so powerful. Because now, instead of fighting, Zahara grew and saw what was happening. And that's what I want people to understand. Life is being experienced in a spiritual way. Stop looking at it what your little mind thinks. And she saw that. And the benefits of that was for her. You should have seen the animation on her face when she was telling me this story, Karen. It was beautiful. And she was not just happy. She had become a woman, could listen to her own self.
Karen, when you phrase your question, you use the term thought patterns. And it really sparked a memory in me of Sid Banks' teachings in the early days. And he often talked about patterns, habits, break those patterns, break those habits, recognize those patterns, and don't follow them. And part of it is not really being there. Part of it is just riding along on your old habit rather than being in the now. When he shared about those patterns, it gives people, that's a great word, it gives people an opportunity to wake up to a pattern when they're in the middle of one. And when you wake up to that pattern in the middle of it, you jump into the now and you have the opportunity to change it. You have the opportunity to let it go and try something new. Try going inside. Try exploring that stimulus that you've been given. So I think that's just a worthwhile comment. We have these patterns, and when we're following the old verse, the old routine, the old this and that, you know, when people in a relationship go, oh, you always say that. Oh no, you always say that. Yeah, it's true. We're in a pattern and we're not in the now. We're just running off at the mouth and thinking while we're talking, thinking something else, certainly not looking at the fact that they can take responsibility for changing that right there, right then, in that now.
But not with willpower.
No, just know. You just know. Oh, that's what Sid's talking about. That's the pattern, or in this case, that's the way Jim answered the question about patterns. We do have these patterns and we don't even know we have them. You know, it's wake up. It's a matter of waking up, and you have that. No, you can't plan it. You just have to know it. It's just like, you know, how do we drop thought? Well, you just have to know about it. And when you spot it, change it, and it'll just, you can do it. It's not a willpower thing. It's a let it happen thing.
So it's more about letting it happen instead of trying to make it happen.
Yeah, and
Yes.
recognizing
Yeah,
it,
letting it.
recognizing the pattern, because we just love to jump into these patterns because we're too lazy to get into the now.
Beautiful. Yeah, as far as I understand, it's more about letting our personal thoughts go and letting our divine thoughts guide us.
It sounds perfect.
So, yeah, instead of being willpower, that's divine power.
Mhm.
All right, so I'll ask my next question. That is, I heard that when you don't react to the other person's negativity and respond with love and care, the other person can feel it. So it doesn't seem to be that way very much to a good extent. Like when somebody's angry, shouting at you, and you're being nice and kind, they're not listening to you. They
It's
get even more
a
angry.
little like Karen, when you're teaching, you sometimes when the person is listening to you, they have a sour look on their face, or they're, or they're fighting you, or they're just, or they're intellectualizing you. But then they go home and they start to think about it, and then they change their mind, type of thing. You're sharing energy, not trying to be liked with body language and people smiling at you. If you share positive energy, it's imprinting on them. When they see it, is up to them. But very often in the beginning, I would listen to something, and then I would go home and think about it. And then I'd go, oh, is that what the person was talking about? So not everything is right in your face right now. And people have masks on, Karen. And these masks cover up what they're actually feeling and thinking. But I can tell you that love is the answer, and it's energy. It's a positive feeling. And everybody in the universe, no matter what state of mind they are in, wants positive feelings. Everybody. And it gives people, the opportunity, but you are correct. Sid said, I can show you the path. I can even open the door for you, but you have to walk through the door. That you cannot deny. But when they walk through the door is not always in that moment when you're sharing something with all that love in your heart. But it affects people. And sometimes people are hurting, Karen, and you're supporting them with love. They may never come back to tell you thank you, but in their heart, they have thank you, because you supported them with a positive feeling where everybody was talking about their problem. So you give people an opportunity. That's all we can do. And you have to be true to yourself. Don't come down to the misery of the other person. Give them the opportunity to feel the uplift of love. That's the way I see it, Karen. You do not have to see it that way.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you, Harry. Thank you, Jim. Thank you very much.
Well, does anyone else have anything to ignite the conversation or observation?
Yeah, uh, thank you so much, Jim, for reading the chapter. The chapter is so nice. It's teaching us a lot. I just have a question about that chapter. Like, you stand out for yourself, yes. Your happiness comes first, and you have to be true to yourself. So I have a question like, okay, my partner, I don't want to hurt him. I feel bad when I hurt him, and I feel I'm not agreeing with what he's asking me to, but and then I don't want to hurt him. I might be true to myself, and I stand my ground. I'm like, okay, I'm not doing that, or I'm not going there. And then he's showing me that he's hurt, and I feel bad because he's hurt. I really don't want him to be hurt. So what can I do over that?
Oh, good question. Go ahead, Jim. You
Well, I would suggest you reinforce your love, but understand that it won't necessarily be recognized at that particular point in time, but it will be recognized by you, and you will feel good no matter what. You can be sympathetic, but at the same time, you can be strong. You know what love is. You know what being true to yourself is. And you can recognize without harshness, speak with love, speak with honesty, and know that you're doing your best and you've done your best. And you have to allow then the other party the freedom to respond or avoid. And that doesn't mean you stop loving them, but it depends on the behavior. But you don't have to accept any negative behavior. You do not love negative behavior, but you have faith in your partner. If it's that close relationship, you have faith in your partner. You love your partner, and you're confident that they will see what you see. And not only that, but you will be also open to make sure you're right. You may go away, be quiet, and realize, maybe I could have said that differently, or maybe there's something to what he was saying, and then you clarify.
and you don't always know, Sylvia, what the answer is in dealing with another person. There's a lot of gray areas, or areas where you're sort of going in with your intuition and your gut feelings. But for me, you must not compromise what you know is true. But the teaching or the trying to communicate is coming from your own consciousness of observing whether this person is open or not to what you have to say. And if they are not open to it, but it's something very, very important that has to be talked about, the way I do it is I go into that area, even though it's uncomfortable. So if it's something like politics, like with my sister who loves Donald Trump and I hate Donald Trump, I don't go into it because it's just not that important. But if it's something where there's a denying of the truth and the person is blocked, I then do go into it if it's important enough for me to stay pure to what I understand. So diplomacy is always a good thing, and you get more with sugar than you do with sour. But there are certain things in where you are growing now, where truth and the way the world sees it is confronting itself. And change does not always just happen through soft, cozy feelings. Change happens when you are true to yourself. There's no good and bad. There's no definition of what is the right way and the wrong way. But what is true is if you have a feeling and God is telling you to express it, my advice is to express it. And if you have a feeling and you see that this person is closed to it, then either you change your tact or you stop talking about it, one or the other. Because as a teacher, you must understand your job is to educate the student. The student is the most important thing, not that I have something to say. It's whether we're able to find that common love so that it teaches. Remember, if they find love in their heart, it will teach them. You won't teach them. The love will teach them. So it's an interesting question. How do you remain true to what you see versus the softness of backing away and not talking about something? I'm pretty blunt, to be honest. I'm very blunt. And I really respect my honesty, being honest with myself. But your consciousness will let you know whether you should go forward or you cannot. But one thing I will say, don't compromise. Don't compromise your feelings that you know was true, because that's your direct connection with God. And that's what you want. Go ahead, Jim, if you have something.
Another factor is watch out about judging. If you've fallen into judgment and then you've fallen out of your center, replace judgment with understanding. Then you can help if it's going to happen. But if you're acting out of judgment, you're not being true to yourself at that moment. And if you love somebody and you're acting out of judgment, you got to pull back out of that judgment and give understanding. And if it's not happening, that understanding will tell you, okay, I'll leave this for now. But I love you, but I do not love that behavior. But we can talk about it again later. And generally, during that time, it gives you both a chance to reflect and choose love.
How do you see that, Mark?
I see that as being absolutely right on. Judgment is the way away from your wisdom, will take you out of your wisdom every time. The wisdom being living in that spiritual feeling, that groundedness in yourself, it's not all about you. But when you start thinking other people should be living up to the standard that you think that they should, then you're not just you're getting caught up in the illusion. You're trying to control things on the outside and you're losing your gratitude for the gift that's been given to you to live in a spiritual feeling and with wisdom. Wisdom is that spiritual feeling coming through into life.
Nice, Mark.
Go ahead, Anna. You're still muted, Anna.
Yeah, I was just thinking it was a beautiful chapter and very relevant to me, except there is not my boyfriend, it's my teenager daughter. So
Same thing, isn't it?
It hits home. Okay. But the two things that came to me in different times of the conversation is, one thing is that if we remember what creates our feelings, we can know what creates someone else's feelings. So if someone is feeling hurt, and this, I hope it's okay to speak to this. If someone is feeling hurt, it's because of what their mind is telling them about what's going on. It's not really us hurting them. It's just their own mind is like saying stuff that is hurtful, and they believe that because we believe that, because at some point we all fall for that. So somehow, if I have good intentions in my heart and I have that truth that Harry and James and Mark and we're sharing, that's the best I can know for what I'm bringing to the conversation. And then their reaction is going to be a reaction to what they think about the conversation. And I think the love is like, some people call it like an antibiotic, you know. You take the antibiotic and the symptoms will stay for a bit, and then you will get progressively healthier as the medicine works. So that's the other thing that was coming to me.
You know,
in
but her
regards to
question, it deals a little bit different texture. Her question is when she sees something and the other person does not see something. And she
Well, I'm
feels,
not sure because it was a while ago. So I'm speaking to what's coming to me.
yeah.
It may not be exactly that, but
No, I'm just bringing up just a different context to it. What you said is dead on, Anna.
yeah.
I'm not suggesting anything that you
No,
said.
I'm not suggesting you're suggesting it. I'm just pointing to sometimes that happens. And the other thing I wanted to say is that a few weeks ago, well, days ago, my mind kept trying to figure out ways to help, right? Ways to help. My intellect wanted to figure out ways to help. And then I realized the only thing everybody needs is to be reminded of who they are, to be given back to themselves. And then, like you say, Harry, it's the spirit that helps the person. So I think that's the beauty of this calls, that we get to be reminded that we are spiritual beings, and that we have a spiritual nature that has a particular feeling. And I don't know why I'm so nervous, but yeah, I saw that clearly, that then each individual helps themselves with what is exactly appropriate to them in their reality, without advice given, because they are the embodied intelligence of life. Each and one of us is. So it's really, it was really liberating to me to know that I could help a lot just by keep coming to myself. I keep coming to myself. And I can tell people the same, keep coming to yourself, keep coming to the spiritual origin that you have. And then maybe there isn't that feeling of love, of compassion, of peace, calm, appreciation. So I just, yeah, I hope it was different in my head, but I wanted to share that because now every time I feel like, because every time I try to help with my head, I'll feel blocked. There will be barriers, right? And that would lose my feeling. But now I just realized that no, the only thing people need is to be given back to themselves by being reminded of who they are. And then the spirit will speak to them, share inside that wisdom voice that Zahara listened to. Thank you.
Sylvia, do you want to add anything to your question?
No, I don't want to add anything on my question. I just want to appreciate the chapter for today. Like Jim said earlier, it's teaching us more, especially us who have partners, and we should stand our ground. Okay, because love says we should love ourselves first, right? And Harry is telling us we shouldn't compromise. You get yourself first, then the other person will come next. Yeah, though, to me, it's kind of difficult to to see someone I love, and like I feel like I don't want to hurt him. I am like, okay, what should we do? Because I really don't want to hurt him. I'm seeing his heart, and I feel like, okay, what he's telling me, I don't want to do it, and then his heart, and so that means I'm also going to lose it. I'm not going to be happy because my partner is not happy, and it's all because of me. So to me, I'm like, it doesn't make sense. He's unhappy because of me, and automatically I'm not going to be happy because my partner is not happy. So yeah, I was just a little bit confused over that. But
It's a good confusion. It's a teaching confusion.
yeah, but I'll take Harry, I'll take your advice. At the end of the day, I have to take care of myself first, because I think, yeah, it is always good. It is always good to take care of myself first, and then I'll take Jimmy's advice. I'm like, okay, we should talk about this sometime. Let us give ourselves some space. Then we come again and talk about it. So this chapter of Zahara and the boyfriend, about love, yeah, it's really showing us how to handle it, how to stand our ground. Like when Zahara was like, no, I'm not going with you, I'm not following you, and the boyfriend was mad and he was shouting, and and the next day he came and apologized. He realized what he did. So yeah, it teaches us to stand our ground and put ourselves first before any other thing, before any other person. Let us first consider our feelings and our happiness, then we consider other people's feeling. Yeah, I think I'm blessed by that today. Thank you so much.
And Sylvia, it's the same advice that you gave the person with the teen pregnancy. To see the similarity, that she had to find the feeling within herself and be secure within herself, no matter what the community and her parents said. It's a very similar answer. You have to trust the inside feelings.
Yeah,
In a confusing moment. Like it is great when we are clear and understand, but we're human. And when you deal with relationships, it's not always black and white. I got it, I don't got it. There's the beauty of being in the unknown. The unknown is where all the learning is. And finding your way through the unknown to being secure and knowing that you've trusted those feelings, those positive feelings inside yourself to guide you through that mess.
And there's two or three beautiful things that happen during these situations as they play out, as in Zahara's story, that that are unwritten at that point. One is forgiveness, and another is humility. And Zahara was exhibiting forgiveness, and the boyfriend was exhibiting humility in the outcome of the situation. He couldn't come back and apologize without humility. He had the beautiful experience of dropping his ego. If she had not forgiven, that would have taken her out of her center. That would have taken her into her ego. So Zahara forgave, and the boyfriend forgave himself and went to humility. And those are things that are mentioned whenever, they're in Sid's books always, and they have even special chapters. So they weren't directly addressed, but they are implied. And this would happen in any relationship that comes to a conflict. The resolution of it is going to involve forgiveness. It's going to involve self-forgiveness. It's going to involve humility. It's going to involve dropping ego and going to a clear place where you're ready to learn. And as soon as you've done that, you've grown. Your consciousness has grown. So that's what happens. You can't prescribe it, but you can know about it. And once you know about it, it's part of your consciousness, and it will come to you at the appropriate times. Trust yourself.
That's what it comes down to, Jim. Trust yourself. That's what's happened to Zahara. She trusted the feeling she had. Or before she reacted to what her boyfriend was demanding. And in Africa, the man has a lot of power, is the boss. But they're not the boss of yourself inside. They're the boss there. I once mentioned, Jim, to I was talking in a community and something of this nature, and I said, and the man should ask for forgiveness. And the only man among 30 or 40 women got up and says, well, why do I have to ask for forgiveness? Because in his way of thinking, he's the man.
Yeah.
But there's a deeper connection.
Sure.
Especially when somebody's like Sylvia, who's experiencing inner consciousness, it changes the composition of the fiber of the relationship. But Sylvia, we all struggle with the question you asked. No matter what our relationship is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm seeing Anne is telling us that it's our true nature. That it's our true nature is the power behind those feelings. So, and she's like, we all get confused. So I think I'm not the only one who get confused here. Yeah, because so, yeah, Anna is also among us. Yeah, sometimes at home here, my husband has this political leader he loves so much. He supports another party, and I also support another party. So we don't agree on the political parties. But then for him, he loves this man so much that he doesn't want anybody to talk negative about him. And sometimes this man, we need to talk about the things he does because sometimes they are not good. But then whenever you start talking negative, he's like, hey, not now. Don't start. That guy is perfect in everything. I'm like, no. So at the end of it all, you feel like there's something you want to open up, you want to share with him. But then if you share with him, he's going to be hurt. And you're like, so whom should I tell? Whom should I talk about this with? So you end up not telling anybody, and but you feel like you want to tell somebody that is not right. And the person you're supposed to tell is like, no, we are not talking about him unless it's positivity. He doesn't know anything wrong. That guy is right in everything. Really? So I feel if I continue, he will feel hurt. He'll be like, okay, I think you don't want us to talk. You don't want us to have some good time in the house. I think I'll leave the house for you. So I'm like, okay, don't go, please. Come back. I'm not talking about him anymore.
It's just we all think politics right now is dividing people, even dividing family members, because
Oh, yeah.
it's very, very common. All I can tell you with my sister is we have agreed not to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because we cannot
Sure.
do it. And
Yeah.
I cannot change another person's opinion. I cannot. It's
Oh.
impossible. So they will do it if they see the common sense. The best I got out of it was I should listen to what she says, at least to get to see why she would like that other person. That's the best I can get. But we cannot discuss that, because anything I say, it's weird. We have a guy running in politics in the States. He can tell any story he wants and the people believe it. 30% of the people believe it. Any story, it doesn't have to be true. They will believe it. And that's the way people paint their things. They believe in something and they will die for it. They will kill for it. And that's just the way it is. That's separate realities. People believe what they believe. And even though he's your husband, you notice he has different ideas than you have.
Yeah.
That,
Gary,
go ahead, Mark.
what came to me is, we take life too seriously. Essentially it's the illusion that's created from the spiritual energy or God coming into life, and we're the illusion as we're created. Then we create our own illusions. So I think Sid used that term. It's the illusion creating the illusion.
That's thought, Mark.
To begin with, we're illusionary beings on this earth because it's so psychological, and it's such a collection of beliefs and things that we pick up. We don't really know who we are. We're in this world of thought. And so we take it all so seriously, and so we're always trying to figure it out, or change it from the outside, or argue and debate and so on. And that's getting sucked into the illusion. So
Yeah.
for me, it's really comes back to what we really are, which is that pure spiritual divine energy with that incredible feeling of connection to this energy and to God, is one way of putting it. And it's the creator. It's really the only thing that exists and gives us this illusionary life that we live. So we need to back off on trying to control life so much and be more. I think Sylvia, it's less about trying to convince other people or influence other people. It's less about what we do, and it's more about how we are how we're being in ourselves. And the more we can be true to who we really are, the more we will have an influence on people around. Even in a relationship, I find that the more I'm just being and backing off from judgment, for sure, and trying to change or take things too seriously, and then my partner feels more love, because I'm not trying to influence her. I'm just being in a more loving feeling.
As
Yeah.
long as you don't compromise yourself, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely. No, but it feels so much better.
Oh, no, the good feeling is always the answer, Mark.
Yeah,
But that you can't compromise yourself.
no.
So we can talk about the feeling, and we can talk about the feeling right now in the room. And in order to raise our common feeling here, I feel that we need to go right to the heart of things. Oneness is the heart of things. We are all one. It doesn't matter what the politics are. That can be divided by egos, but we are one. We are here talking about the three principles of mind, consciousness, and thought. And ultimately how The principles are all one. That's how we've got to get to this oneness, and we've got to talk about oneness. And when we do, really, we head to mind, which is God. And we can talk about the definitions of mind, which is, the universal consciousness, the universal understanding of all things. Mind is everything. God is everything. What is everything? It's every human, regardless of country, regardless of race, regardless of politics. It's in every human, whether we realize it and acknowledge it or not. We are all part of God. The whole planet is part of God. We have all the religions. They're all the same. They're all part of God. We've got the indigenous religions. We've got Christianity. We've got Muslims. We've got Buddhists. We've got all of the ones we can name. They're all based on pure truth. They're all based on the enlightenment of one individual who shared it, who saw this answer. And what he saw was this connection of all things, this commonality of all things. And that includes the whole planet. It includes every thought. It includes every universe. It includes everything in form and formless. And that is where we go. We want to be recognizing the love of all things. We want to be recognizing the commonality of all things. We have to recognize how we all in this room are one. It includes the form and the formless. The reason we are here is because Sydney Banks was one of those people who had a gift from God. And that gift was a realization of what the formless is and what form is and how they are all one.
And how they are perfectly designed.
Absolutely, Harry. And the talk relates to a feeling. It's just thoughts. So we're expressing the feeling. And it's one feeling. And that feeling is love. How beautiful we are. How beautiful we are to be gathered in this room talking about three principles. How beautiful we are. And we're no different from any other soul. We love being here. We love exploring what we're exploring. We love sharing. We love it that we see suffering and that we have an answer. Do you feel that feeling? That feeling is love. I love that feeling. I love this feeling. We all do. Everybody on Facebook, we love you. Everybody who watches this video, we love you. That's how we do it. We recognize love.